So, dear participants, our next session is on Bhumi Sukta, environmental philosophy and sustainable management in the Atharva Veda. And we have with us Shri Narendra KV from Rezorce Research Foundation, Bengaluru. Narendra sir, a warm welcome to you, sir. Namaste.
Thank you very much. Happy Navaratri to everyone.
Sir, you are not audible.
Am I audible now?
Yes, yes, sir. Now you are audible properly.
Happy Navaratri to everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. Wish you the same. Yes, sir. So, Narendra KV is a managing director and CEO of Resource Research Foundation. He is a BE graduate in computer science and engineering from the Oxford College of Engineering, Bengaluru. He is currently working as a service associate at Resource Pro Operational Solution Private Limited since September 2024, where he contributes to service delivery operations. He brings expertise in service work, learning management systems, and professional writing with a strong focus on operational efficiency and problem solving. His career reflects a blend of technical knowledge and service oriented skills, making him a valuable professional in the business operations and service solutions domain. He has authored many books that ranges of topics including the ancient Vedic traditions and their practical application like Veda, Nitya Karma series, Vidura Niti, Bangalore's history and people. That includes Bengalurupedia, people who define Bengaluru, and management and political commentary. For example, Sanskrit magazines, Nyaya and Modern Management, Indian democracy in application, and self reflection that surrounds a failure's reminiscence. So, thank you so much, Narendra sir, for joining us today. And now the session is yours.
Thank you very much. So, what we are trying to do today is that everybody speaks about environment. So, you know, whenever you open any newspaper, mostly you do have people speaking about environment, and some people say that just if you don't cut trees, then that's environment. And then I'm an environmentalist if I go and obstruct somebody from cutting a tree. Or some people do, they try to save lakes, save parks and all that. That's a part of environment. Now, is that all that is there to environmentalism is what is a question. Now, this environmental concepts are not new. See, if we were to consider from a global perspective, then there are roughly around 9 different treaties or global frameworks on which environmentalism happens. We have, for instance, the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Then we have the Rio Declaration. We have an agenda, Johannesburg Plan, and there's a lot of these kind of things which like define environmentalism and climate change, because climate change is another thing that everybody keeps talking about. So the question that happens that comes to our mind is, are these what define environment? Is that what is the environmental philosophy that we should be speaking about? Because every government, including the Indian government, spends a huge amount of money on these kind of frameworks to make these frameworks happen. And we always keep talking about carbon credits and things like that. So the main question that we will have to ask ourselves is, what is the philosophy? How does what is that philosophy that we have to that what is actually an environmental philosophy? And I am here today speaking about possibly the first environmental philosophy that that has ever been defined. That is the that appears in the Atharva Veda. It is called as the Bhumi Sukta. But before I begin this talk in the form of the proper tradition, let me just begin with the first verse of Atharva Veda.
वाचस्पते देवेन मनसा सह वसोस्पते निवेमजमय्येवास्तु मयि श्रुतम् विनैवाधितनोभे आत्मीमर्चया वाचस्पतिर्निरच्छतु मय्येवास्तु मयि श्रुतम् उबाहो वाचस्पतिरुपास्मान् वाचस्पतिर्भयता श्रुतेन गमे महिमा श्रुतेन निराधिः
So this is the introduction, the first shloka in the Atharva Veda, and in the traditional manner, I just began there. Before I begin this, particular, I would like you to possibly look at this paper of mine, Vedic Bhumi Sukta and International Norms, a comparative framework. This is available on the internet, and possibly if you are listening to me, and if you can just have the paper also along with you, that would in many ways help you to get if at all if you're missing something in my discussion, or if something is not clear, a lot of things would possibly come up with that. So if it is possible for you, I would request you to please download this paper, Vedic Bhumi Sukta and International Norms, a comparative framework. So what we are, basically today, what I'm talking about is about the mankind's first environmental philosophy. What makes this philosophy? What is the philosophy is what we are talking about. And I'm also relating to what the modern frameworks are and how these relate to what we are speaking about. See, we have to understand the depth in which the Atharva Veda Bhumi Sukta goes, and how that relates with whatever how what shall I say, how it relates to the existing frameworks that we are having. So let me just begin with running the Atharva Veda Bhumi Sukta. It is a very short thing that I have not completely done the entire Sukta. The first six shlokas I am just I will play it for you.
सत्यं मृगविभमुग्रं निरीक्षारवो ब्रह्मैकपृथिवीं धारयन्ति सानो यत्कैवत्यं लोकं पृथिवीः कृणोतु परं बध्यतो यस्यामुत्तरः कमलस्तमं बहु नानावीर्यामोषधीर्याभिभर्तिपृथिवीनः प्रदतां राज्यकाम्नः यस्यां समुद्र उदयं गुलाबो यस्यावन्नं कृष्णयस्तं बभूवुः यस्याभिरञ्जं वदति प्राणदे दत्तारो भोगपूर्वते दधातु यस्याचरस्य प्रतिशः पृथिव्या यस्यावन्नं
So we heard the first six shlokas of the Bhumi Sukta. Now, the first thing that we have to ask ourselves is to see, this present government keeps talking about ease of doing business. Now, everybody is talking of ease of doing business. They are saying that if you want us to invest in your country or in your state, then you should be able to provide us you should be able to do things, help us to do business easily. Now, what are the parameters on which this, this ease of doing business is there? The first thing that is there is a constancy. That is that the government, whatever laws, rules are there, it remains in a similar fashion for a long number of years. Second thing is that there are legal structures that are there. Then there is a disciplined workforce that will implement. Then people are prepared to they have the skills and knowledge to deliver. These are the four parameters on which the ease of doing business is there. Now, this is how the government defines ease of business. Now, the first shloka, what we heard of, the Atharva Veda Bhumi Sukta, it talks about Ruta, which means that there are 6 pillars, that defines the cosmic order. These 6 pillars are nothing but truth, constancy, law, discipline, sacrifice, and divine knowledge. That is what we are talking about. Is the Vedic idea of universal order is nothing but what are the foundations for which government defines as ease of doing business. That is, if we want to lead a good life on this earth, what it means is that we have to have a very, very stable environment around us, and both the physical and moral environment that will enable us to excel. So if we are talking about, what I'm trying to hint at is that the ease of doing business and ease of having a fantastic life, both of them are actually parallel tracks. So you cannot have a situation where the first, shloka of Bhumi Sukta, what it says is it mirrors the fact of that the way that, reason why a foreign investor or an investor would like to invest in your country, in the same manner, the same principles hold true if we have to have a very, very reasonably good life on this earth. This is the first principle that is very, very critical, and that is the first shloka. The second shloka, the second shloka speaks about it envisions a society where there is freedom, balance, and equality. Now, we have our own constitution, Indian constitution. Now, you have heard about both the written constitutions and the unwritten constitutions, whether you consider it as the US constitution or the UK constitution, the Indian constitution, and all that. Where it stops is for the freedom and rights of the citizens. It does not speak about the non-citizens in that particular area. What do I mean by non-citizens? It does not mean aliens, as they say, that is people from another country or another part of the globe. When we are speaking about non-citizens, we are talking about nature. See, there are a huge number of ants, there are huge number of insects, there are so many wild animals, so many trees, so many mountains, rivers, and all that. These constitutes, they also are there in India, or they are there in our own geography. They also have a right of existence. Now, this is, Atharva Veda 12.1.2 speaks about the rights of nature. Okay, now is this you may say that, okay, this is a very historic concept. Now, how can we, how can a constitution define, uh, a democratic constitution define rights for nature? Now, it is not actually alien, because if you were to look at the Constitution of Ecuador, their first Article 71 speaks about the right of nature. That is, they are saying that they are giving equal rights to not just to the human beings, but to other aspects of life. In a similar manner, Bolivia, which is an other South American country, provides its Article 1 itself of the plurinational state of Bolivia 2010 constitutional. This one, it says very clearly that there is a right of in addition to the human beings, all other aspects of life have rights, equal rights. So this is one thing that, Atharva Veda is actually speaking about giving rights to entities beyond human beings, which goes much beyond what a so-called, what shall I say, elite and very, very sophisticated legal rights system in most developed countries cannot provide today. The the shloka 3 and 4, they highlight the ecological abundance, which should be sustained by harmonious living. This is, we do speak about harmonious relationship everywhere. We talk about a moral code. We say that, we human beings, should think about other aspects of, life. Gandhiji also said that this, country has everything for everybody's need, but not anything, not for everybody's greed. This is actually just a stand principle, basically. Now, what is required is that there should be an harmonious living. Now, uh, the thing is that what do we mean by harmonious living is, now if you just go back to 2020, we were all of us were confined within the four walls of our house. Of course, we did cook well. I think all of us ate very, if we had the money, all of us ate very well during that period, because we just had to click on our phones, order the items, get them home, and then we had all the time in the world to cook and eat whatever we wanted. But if you look at it, if you were to go back to that time, and if you just despite living a good life, despite living a happy life, you could see all the movies that you wanted, you could do all the exercises that you wanted, you could actually chat, eat together, you could do a lot of things at home, but still your expenditure never crossed maybe 1/5 or 1/6 of what you normally spend every month now. So the thing is that it's not about inflation. It is just that what we require to survive is very small, and to live happily is very small when compared to what we actually spend and the way that we live currently. So this harmonious, the thing is that today we buy more clothes than we need. We waste a lot of food that we don't need or eat. So these are all habits that have come up. So we are talking about Atharva Veda 12, third and fourth shloka speaks about this. The next shloka that we're talking about is about ancestors who restrain destructive forces linked as moral courage to social stability. Now, what we are see, the thing is that what we are talking about is that basically, the concept of this, Atharva Veda, the basic concept is that we are living on this earth for a very, 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 very short duration. We do believe that we own everything that is there around us. We do fight with everybody for just an inch of land. We do create, we go to courts, fight each other, kill each other. And I think, most of the wars today happen because we would like to exercise control over what is a neighbor's property. But in essentiality, if you look at it over a period of time, over the entire scope of the time period that in that the Earth has been there, our time span is so very less. We may say that we own the 30 by 40 site or the acre of land, and that we have a title deed to that. But essentially, what we have to understand is that in that acre of land, or in that 30-40 site, there are thousands of other organisms which have made it their homes. They live there, they survive there, they die there. Just like we may be there for a short period of time, they are there also for a shorter period of time. So it is not that this is just our land, it also belongs to everybody around us. This is the whole principle. Now, what that essentially means is that we are just a trustee on this land. We do not own the land. That's what is the principle. We are a trustee because your father gave the land to you. During his time, he used to say that the property belongs to me. Now I own the land, so I say that the property belongs to me. It is nobody else's property. But then when I die and give it to my son, then the property belongs to him. He doesn't say it's my father's property or my grandfather's property. He says it's my property. So this whole, the extent to which your ownership is a very, very small duration, because this land existed much before humans came, and it will possibly extend, till such time that there is a catastrophe globally. So we have to be this is the first aspect of the cosmic order, and that is the principle or the basics of global ethics. So what we are talking about is that, see, if this is not something that is very particular to Atharva Veda itself. If you were to again look at the Indian culture in South America or the Mayan culture, they have got something called a concept of Mother Earth or Panchamama. So there also they say that we Earth, owns the ownership of Earth is not just the humans; it is all creatures that are there, which it describes. Rivers, rains, herbs, crops, everything as a part of. It's a part of that. So the idea that Earth is ruled by divine justice, it provides light and leadership. It reflects even the UN Global Charter's call for institutions of global governance. So even United States says that this should be the charter on which the entire world should live. So what we are also speaking about, if from the UN Charter's perspective, is that there is a participatory democracy and shared responsibility. So every one of us is responsible, not as owners of the property or owners of the land, but as trustees to maintain certain kind of ethical balance. So this is the cosmic and moral foundation on which we have, the ethical code of conduct. Next, the second aspect is the fertility, nourishment, and sustainable agricultural aspect. This is very important because today, we are reading about so many farmers dying. They're committing suicide because they are unable to sustain agriculture. And then we have another set of farmers who say that farming, if you in fact go to the rural side, most farmers would not like their children to continue tilling the land. They want them to move away from the land, go to the city, and if possible, even work as a maid or a delivery boy or something, instead of actually tilling the land. They say that it's a waste because you don't earn any money. But Bhumi Sukta, it presents a very, very spiritual vision of agriculture, fertility, and human dependence of Earth's bounty. Because there are also another set of people who are naturalists, people who are practicing natural way of agriculture, intense way of agriculture, where we do see, where do we hear and where there are awards given to agriculturists who are making, even 6 to 7 lakhs, maybe up to 12 lakhs in an acre of land. So we have both the situations where some farmers are committing suicide because they are unable to get any livelihood out of their own piece of land, while you have another small farmer getting an award and leading a very comfortable life. Now, what is the difference? This difference is what defines the fertility, nourishment, and sustainable agriculture that the Atharva Veda suggests. The first part is that it says that the agriculture or the whole concept of fertility, the concept of agriculture, it comes from it's just that we are, as a humans, we are dependent on Earth's bounty. That is the first thing that is there. So we have to live lead our life, have our agricultural practices that align with the nature of the land that is there available to us. So what's actually happening today is that just because there is irrigation, whether our land supports or not, everybody wants to grow cash crops. Now, when cash crops fail or when they are not, when there is a over, growth of these cash crops in a particular region, it leads to failure. It leads to the profitability coming down. So the first thing that we talk about is that we have to have, we have to live we keeping in mind the bounty that the earth is giving in that particular place. So we have to completely align our agriculture and align our farming to the particular local nature of the earth. Then the earth's wealth is actually, it's a gift, and it is governed by both the light and the earth that is there. Then it says that earth, the large parts of the earth, it says, is something that people should be able to the actual the eighth shloka says that the sages should be able to roam freely, and they must be able to have their food as a part of divine creativity and truth. What that essentially means is that there must be a lot of common lands. See, you have forests, you have gomalas, you have a lot of these things, grazing fields and all that. So you have parks, playgrounds, where there is adequate food that is available not just for the human beings, but for all animals that depend or live on it. So you must have a large number of trees everywhere, so that birds can come and birds can enjoy the food there, bees can pollinate. This is what is the whole concept that they are talking about. This, what the Atharva Veda emphasize is that we should be in a position, and good environmental practice should have a large number of common lands. It should have, the land should be managed in such a manner that there is a huge amount of fertility. The fertility that is there in the land is preserved, that it is not over exploited in a manner that the land will lose its, richness. Then there is a concept of what is called as, the which essentially called as Mother Earth, or the sky as a father and mother as the earth. What that essentially implies is that we have to live within the constraints of what the rain and the sun and other aspects of life that is there on this earth, which is what is the father provides, but which the mother will sustain. So this is the next concept that is there. And the fourth concept is the principle of yagna, or sacrifice. This is something very important, because what we do think is that agriculture, we believe, is just another commercial activity, and that you just have to plant certain things, and then, without putting in the necessary effort, we will get results. This is what is actually the problem that we have in rural side. People do not want to work hard, or do not want to put in the necessary effort in a direct and manner to see that their land will give them a good option, good livelihood. So this sacrifice or yagna is something that the Atharva Veda, or sage Atharva, emphasizes. He says that, okay, the 13th shloka talks about that responsibility, and it says that the yagna must reflect on participatory governance of resources, and also directed activity or directed focused agricultural practices. And the last part of this is the that is the 14th and 15th part of it. It talks about framing agriculture within the justice, or it says that we should not exploit our land, the forests, and the other, natural mountains and other things in a violent fashion. And we should live within our constraints, we should continue to do our agriculture. We should try to build human society in a manner that it sustains all living beings, not just the human beings, but all living beings, including the plants, the trees, animals, and everything else that is native to that particular environment. See, we do talk about, there is the SDG 10, that is the United Nations. They the United Nations sustainable goals, Sustainable Development Goal 12, speaks about, it promotes practices by individuals and business institutions. It talks about enemies and exploiters. It suggests that, the government should protect against enemies and exploiters. But the fact of the matter is that it stops there. It does not define the United Nations SDG does not go beyond, suggesting that the government should protect from enemies and exploiters. But here we have a situation where the Atharva Veda goes much ahead and says that it is not just the exploiters should not be, it is not just the exploiters, the whole framework of development should be built on sustainability. This is a very, very key part of how, Atharva Veda looks at sustainability and it looks at agriculture as a sacred duty. The third thing is about third aspect of Atharva Veda, Bhumi Sukta, is about diversity, coexistence, and human equality. That is Shloka 16 to 22. The Shloka 16 speaks about Earth is evoked as a mother who nourishes all her children equally and provides common world that enables dialogue and mutual discourse. What we are talking about is that this actually comes. This same principle comes in Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Article 2 says that all people must be equally nourished and sustained by Earth. See, this is something that's the reason why I'm quoting this human rights uh, uh, treaty is because environmental concepts of Atharva Veda environment concepts goes beyond things like Rio, or it goes beyond the Johannesburg Plan of Implementation, or the United Nations Sustainable Goals, or the UN framework or Kyoto Protocol. All these things that we keep hearing, UN and the world today believes that it's a very, very small the whole concept of environment is a very small subset, and then they do have things like human rights and all that, which is projected as a very, very different ball game, because you have a different set of people managing human rights. Then you have a separate department which looks after environment. But Atharva Veda says that whether it is sustainability, whether it is environment, whether it is development, whether it is human rights, all this comes within the framework of what is Bhumi Sukta. So if it 12.16 goes beyond whatever the Universal Declaration of Human Rights speaks about. It does talk about nourishing everyone as a child. So the children does not mean the children of the family. It also means the birds, the trees, everybody, everything that is present within that local environment. This is a very, very huge coexistence theory that is not listed in any of the human development frameworks. Then 12.1.17, it urges humanity to live in unity, generosity, and peace, portraying Earth as mother of all herbs, trees, and cultures, bound together in dharma. Again, this is a SDG 10 target of empowering people irrespective of origin. So, see, we are having one sutta with one concept. It is covering a lot of things that are not covered in any one of our lesson. Then the next one is that we have 12.1.18, which is again, it conceptualizes Earth as a great hall of residence for humanity. So it is not just that, it says that Indra is the divine ruler, Surya is the sun, and Earth is, has her motion, and she is at peace with herself. And because her motion is regulated, because she is at peace with herself, we are at peace of staying on her. So what she says is that as long as when the divine forces are, you know, are available here, the divine forces are defining how we stay on this earth. When they are giving a constancy in their actions, it says that we should also live in a very, very similar manner. So, see, for instance, this same concept comes in the UNESCO Declaration, which which again stresses that people minority rights and stuff like that should parallel, and people should stay in a very unified manner. So that what we are speaking here is that the diversity in beyond human culture, it is we are talking about recognition of elemental and cosmic diversity. That is, we are talking about uh, that the whole shared human practices, rituals, hospitality, survival, everything is dependent, is dependent on this earth and the natural forces like sun and rain. But we will be in a position to enjoy all of these things to its fullest limits, provided we live within the order, the natural order of things that defines us. So rain, we have different in our own this one, we have different autumn, summer, spring, winter. We have these seasons. Then we have for each season we have different crops, we have different foods, we have different systems. So all these things are defined. Next we have the sacred ecology, that is healing and resources are the next set of things. I'm just running through this because each one of them has a very very huge concept. But what we are talking here is that Atharva Veda, this is a precursor to Ayurveda also. Basically, we are talking about Earth as a living and healing entity. So what that essentially means is that the Earth provides medicinal herbs, minerals. It supports regeneration. Basically, it speaks about a concept where all your problems, whether they are psychological problems or physical problems, Earth has a solution for all of them, so long as you live within the natural course of life. So this is what we are talking, that is what the Atharva Veda says. Then we have speaking about Earth's role in health and well-being. So that and then earth supporting social wealth and cohesion. This is a very important concept of social wealth, because social wealth means that uh, the common lands that are there, whether, see, if we have to get water here in Bangalore, we are dependent on Kaveri water comes because it rains in Kodagu, and it rains in Kodagu only because there is the Sayadri mountains that are there, which blocks the rain, which blocks the clouds and the rains that are coming in from the ocean. So what we are talking about is that social wealth is, if we have to be very happy and content in Bangalore, we should have sufficient drinking water in Bangalore. Then the social wealth and cohesion is not just about preserving, making sure that uh, your sump has water, but it means that the entire stretch of land from Bangalore to Kodagu and from Kodagu beyond into the ocean, all of them are in a very, very stable cycle. This is what is a social wealth that we are talking about. Next is that we are talking about Earth's role in global health policies. See, we have traditional medicines. See, for instance, we have the Nagoya Protocol, where there is a, which says that all governments around the world should promote traditional medicine. What is this traditional medicine? Traditional medicine is that what has been practiced as, whether we call it naturopathy, homeopathy, Ayurveda, all of these are, yoga, all of these are traditional medicines. So it does talk about, uh, human body uh, healing itself, and the earth's role is that it provides for everything for healing, that not just human beings need, but every aspect of life needs. Okay, we have hospitals, we have money, we have credit cards, we have insurance policies. So what does the, but we are not even 0.0001% of life on earth. What does that 99.9999% of earth do when they are not well, when they have a problem? What they do essentially is that they source solutions from around their own environment to make sure that they become healthy once again. So maybe, if you have observed elephants and you have observed tigers on any of the wildlife, they know which plant within that forest which will give them that immediate succor. Or even if you have your own pet dog, maybe, if you are not in a position to look after it well, or your doctor is unable to diagnose, but if you can take it to a park, and if the necessary herbs are there, the dog will heal by itself. So this is what is the power of healing, and power of the earth giving all the resources that we need to be lead a healthy life on earth. Then we are talking about the Sukta highlights earth's dynamic healing power. That is, however well we destroy the earth as human beings for our own greed, it says that the earth is in a position to heal itself. It does not need us as human beings or any other force to come and heal it. We unfortunately think that we own the ownership of the earth and it is upon us to heal everything. But the fact of the matter is that, I was just seeing a documentary film on how wherever there has been nuclear accidents, it says that within 10 or 12 years life comes back to its original state, though we always believe that nuclear radiation will survive or stay around for maybe a couple of centuries. So what our understanding of radioactivity, our understanding of the dangers of radioactivity, and what we have seen empirically in Russia or in any other place where we have seen radioactive accidents, and that is actually Atharva Veda says that what we are seeing today, Atharva Veda says that Earth has dynamic healing power. It does not require any human being or any force or anything, provided to go and heal it, provided we leave it we leave it or ignore it for a couple of years, and we do not go there and destroy anything any further. Then there is the mutual support between humans and biodiversity. This is a very important concept, again, because wherever humans step in, we kill biodiversity. We build monoculture because we would like to make money out of it. But biodiversity is what actually, if you were to go to any village, and if there is a successful farmer or farmer making a lot of money, one thing you will observe is that he is not dependent on a single crop. Normally, if you have a single crop and if there is a pest attack or something, then the entire farmer is doomed for that year. But in any field where there is biodiversity, you will notice that if something fails, there is something else that will protect the farmer. So, in the same manner, in a forest, wherever there is biodiversity, life is in a position to support. The forest supports a large forms of life. So, this is the next concept of the healing and resources component of the Atharva Veda. The last part is about preserving knowledge and land ethics. This is, there is a traditional knowledge even before agricultural universities came into picture. The forests department came into picture. Even before all these things were there, if you were to go and interact with the tribals anywhere in the forest, you will notice that they know a lot about the forest themselves. They know much more than any forester will ever do. And that is because whatever our knowledge from the books, the traditional knowledge that people have is very, very strong and very, very resilient. It contains a huge amount of information that is not actually recorded anywhere. In a similar manner, almost all the forest animals know where to get their food, how to get the food, and how to manage even if there is a scarcity or if there is abundance. So this is a traditional knowledge that is not completely documented. It is not exchanged in, it's not taught in universities, it is not taught anywhere. So what Atharva Veda says is that it's very important to document this traditional knowledge and let that knowledge remain within human beings or within families or within people. Uh, that is, between generation to generation, this should be transferred so that people will be in a position to, make the best use of whatever is available to them. So this is actually some of the things that the Nagoya Protocol has also spoken about. The last is about governance and dharma. Again, as I said, this I'm just running through this. The first aspect that is there is that we are talking about wealth, justice, and ethical leadership. So I have already spoken about recognizing Earth as moral foundation of governance. Uh, See, there is a concept that wealth is inclusive and it should be continuous also, in the manner that uh, you know the whatever the producers that we get on from the land, it is not restricted to any one particular season or one generation. So if you just, the seeds are present within the soil, and if you just allow the land to, if you just allow the land to heal itself, possibly a large number of, if you just see also in any, even in your pot, if you allow the, ask the, your gardener to come and put some manure, and if you just water the pot, you will notice that a large number of shrubs and unseen or unknown plants will come from there. This is what is meant, by that wealth is should be nourished. Actually, just like a mother nourishing the children, earth nourishes all forms of life, all seeds, all kinds of plants. Everything is within the nature itself. So all that one has to do is that we have to provide we should not destroy the earth in a manner that these will be killed. We should just promote it, and we should make sure that the nature will heal itself, and nature will protect all forms of livelihood. Then we have to talk about the next thing is about the kings, or for that matter rulers. In our situation, our MLAs and MPs and the government and the ministers, they should be very careful when they are framing rules, or when they are basically, what shall I say, when they are having plans for development of any particular situation, particular piece of land. So they should be the society must uh, be very, very, see, the thing is that one thing that happens is that we as a society, not only here in India but everywhere in the world, we believe that our governments know better than us. And most places, even though we know that as any development activity is hurtful to the environment and it may hurt us over the long period of time, because it is a development activity, we allow things to just pass. For instance, even in Bangalore, if you see, we do talk about every time it rains, uh, we do exchange a large number of photos and videos showing water getting into houses, and then we blame the government, saying that, okay, you are not doing anything, you are allowing flooding to happen. What we do forget is that there were more than 1,200 lakes in Bangalore. Even, when I wrote a book on lakes of Bangalore in 1991, there were more than 300 lakes which were storing water throughout the year. And most houses in Bangalore did not have a bore well. They were dependent on open wells for getting good quality water, drinking water in their homes. Now, what we did essentially was that we allowed the governments to fill these lakes, because they were, there were mosquito problems. So today, what is actually happening is that when it rains, as is the natural course, you will see that water comes and fills up all the low-lying areas, whether you have an expensive apartment or a golf course or anything. Simple fact of the matter is that it is going to flood. So if your houses are flooding, what it just means is that you built, there was a lake before, and you built your apartment or house in an area where water was filling up, where there was a lake before. So this is something that while it is good for us to believe that we should, all of us should have sites, it is not possible for us to fight nature. And it is here that, as citizens, we have to exercise our responsibility, and we should tell our rulers that they do not have unburdened right over the earth, and that they should do all the development within the framework of natural settings. So this is the governance principle of Atharva Veda. In the same manner, it says that, the other thing is that we should build strong institutions, which will, this is the last, the shloka number 52, which says that whatever effective governance is there, they should come from, that should be in harmony with the natural order, and it cannot come from domination. That is, just because somebody has money or somebody has influence, you cannot allow those people to essentially, rough road and, take over all the forests, or build, dams in areas where there are forests, or flood rivers and all that. Because you can do that because you have money, and you have some technical expertise, but nature will come and take over it at the time that it deems fit. So we have to keep this in mind, and we have to build all our in the structures, keeping this principle on earth. So what we are talking about is that if we want peace and stability, we have to consider earth as the universal mother. This is a summary of what the Bhumi Sukta says. We have to depict earth as the universal mother. She gives, she nourishes us, she gives peace, stability, and moral order. We have to highlight earth's role as a stabilizer, peace, arbitrator, symbol of unity. Then we have to emphasize global cooperation and shared stewardship. It also, we have to envision peace as a living culture rooted in ecological gratitude and cooperation. We have to portray earth as an active agent enforcing ecological justice and spiritual depth. So what I am emphasizing at this moment is that we are not talking about, Bhumi Sukta is not about gods, Atharva Veda is not about gods, Veda is not about gods, it's not just about spiritual life, it's not about a religion, it's not about anything like that. It is about, mm, it is about how we lead a way, how we are leading a life, which will enable us to lead a happy life, which to lead in a manner that will essentially provide food, livelihood for everybody in this earth. Whether you have 8 billion people or more, it provides that stability. Earth can give everything to everybody. It is not about any religion, but it is about the way we live. If you have any questions, I think I will be able to answer.
So, thank you so much for your valuable insights. And it's a wonderful way, like our ancient wisdom has solution for everything. What are contemporary challenges we are facing, let it be anything, even environment, we have the solutions intact over there. Only thing is we have to look into it. So, I think there are a couple of questions. Um, there is a question by Soumya Deep Pal. So she's asking, in the context of this session, is compensatory afforestation? One second. Okay. Okay. Is compensatory afforestation for infrastructure projects sufficient? Should we only replace trees, or should we rethink on how to maintain or rebuild ecological integrity?
See, the thing is that what actually happens is that I have been on some panels where, I have been, from an environment and a perspective, I have been on panels. What we are talking about is that we are telling that, okay, we can always plan our development in a manner that least number of trees are actually being killed. See, for instance, you take this road that is coming, that is what is going from Malleshwaram, Ishwantpur to Tumkur. Okay, when they actually, that was a single road, and when that road was planned into a double road, they wanted to chop off all the 1,600 trees that were there. Now, what we, when that committee was there, I was a part of that committee. What we suggested was that instead of cutting the trees, they can actually, since they were anyway going to take over adjacent land to a small extent, we said that why don't you retain the trees in the center of the road, and then you build the road on either side, so that way the trees will not have to go, and you will still have development that will be that we need for a place like Bangalore. So afforestation itself is not sufficient. Afforestation may be good, but the way we plan the projects must be in such a manner that we are not going to destroy that. See, it is not a question of whether we want a road or a tree. It should be how we have the road and the tree, or if how we have the road and the lake, or how we have the road and the forest. For instance, if you are considering, the latest, bullet train project that is being, that is being done from, like, from Ahmedabad to Delhi, they have not destroyed any forest there. What they have done is that essentially they have, built overhead, or rather, the train goes at about 15 feet above the forest, and it goes in such a manner that the forests are not cut, and that there are enough passages for elephants and other wildlife to move around. So this is actually the way that development actually has to happen. It will be expensive, but it is more sustaining basically.
So it's a question from Dr. Satvik. How to incorporate Bhumi Sukta in academic curriculum as an elective to protect Mother Earth and sustainable business?
No, actually, I wrote that paper keeping in mind that, it should actually come into the curriculum. Essentially, what has actually happened is that I have broken down the entire Bhumi Sukta into 6 or 7 components, so that that can be brought into the curriculum easily. Maybe, offline we can, if you can see my paper, and then, if required, we can offline get that into the, I have a framework that is ready, and I can share it with you, so that you can incorporate it within your curriculum.
Sir, and there is one question from Anupam. Looking at the way the present generation is progressing towards, uh, do you think that they are going to value nature and Mother Earth? And how do we cultivate this from their childhood? And is asking what are your thoughts on it?
Okay, my thoughts are very simple. This country, at least, let me talk about this country, because I can talk with a lot more authority. This country was destroyed by my generation. It was not destroyed by my children's generation. I think that today's generation are much more aware. They are much more sensitive to a lot of things than my generation was ever. We destroyed this country basically. If you see Bangalore was destroyed by my generation. It was not destroyed by the current generation. So I actually feel that, a lot, the reason why the current generation is a lot more sensitive than we were is because there is a lot more information that is available. There are a lot more positive and negative information that is available to everybody. So the thing is that if we can, sensitize them by sharing a lot of this information in schools and colleges, and as a part of not only their curricula but also extracurricular activities, I am sure that, they will take steps to make sure that it won't deteriorate any further. All that is required is that we will have to, the sensitivity has to come not just by fear mongering, but also by giving practical solutions or suggestions on how things can be done in an alternative fashion. As I said, it is not about or, because we do not, in this country of the 1.4 billion people, where there is more than, what shall I say, 20% or 25% of poverty still there. Maybe not be poverty as we saw about 30 years back, but still there is some amount of poverty that is there. Uh, so the biggest environmental problem in this country is poverty. So we do not have the luxury of saying either it is development or environment. it is just a question of development and environment. But what we have to focus is on what are the technological concepts and technological ideas that will make sure that we have both environment and the development. So I think, if you give those concepts to children, they will grow up into very, very better adults, or they will have protect the environment much better than what we did.
Sir, in continuation of that, since we are talking about sustainability, as we know, every government prioritizes economic growth. It is the topmost priority. Actually, it is a question by Dr. Pratima Khandelwal. How can climate change be checked in through actions from governance till academia? It is now bottom-up approach that's going on, and the required is top-down in terms of accountability and responsibility.
See, the thing that happens is that if I will talk about it from a top-down approach. Okay. See, what actually happens is that there is a lot of politics that is here. Climate change is happening. There is no doubt about it. But what we have to understand is that it goes beyond human activity, because there is a large, there are cycles that we have seen in the way that nature is there, and nature has this own way of protecting itself. So without human intervention. But the problem that actually happens is that the Western world, whenever all these protocols are laid, whenever we are talking about most of this, climate change, Kyoto and Johannesburg and all that stuff, they say that its onus is on poorer countries like India, China, or Africa to be responsible for, arresting climate change. While the real problem is not with these countries, the real problem is with Western democracies, because they waste more than they consume. In India, no, we still have this habit of if we get, the plastic milk in plastic covers, we still have this habit of keeping those covers and giving it to a boy who, to somebody who will collect it end of the month and give us a small amount of money. So we recycle almost everything, whether it is the paper, our clothes, or everything is recycled. But in the West, they don't do that. They just simply throw it away. So the problem is actually, if you are looking at it at a very, very macro angle, the problem lies elsewhere. But the fight is whether who has to bell the cat. But what we have seen is that, as a country, we have responsibility. As a civilization, we have responsibility. So our own country, India as a country, we are doing a lot to arrest this. Of course, we also have challenges that we have to bring so many people out of poverty. So we have to take steps to make sure that our development happens. We are, like for instance, we are the fourth largest economy. If we have to become the second largest economy, then we will have to, possibly grow at uh, three times or four times whatever we are today, which means that there is going to be so much more destruction of everything. Having said that, the thing is that we also have to, India government, for instance, has done a lot of work on using, instead of coal, they are using region, solar and wind and, hydroelectric projects are there. Then they are making sure that many of the electric grids are giving way to local grids. The way that water management happening is much better today. So a lot of these things are happening at the ground level. But what should essentially happen is that as citizens we can do many things. Uh, See, at the local level, we have to insist on our corporation and the state government to make sure that the lakes and other water sources are preserved. We have to make sure that the forests are not destroyed. This is something that we will have to be like activists. We have to be very, very aware, and we have to be proactive on that. But as individuals, it is always good for us to restrain our habits. Our habits, we have to make sure that we don't buy things that we don't need. And maybe we should grow one or two plants in every house. Even if you are living in a small apartment, you would definitely have space for one or two plants. So you can make sure that those are, you start greening your atmosphere. And that way, the simple fact is that we can't change the world, but we can just change the way that we lead our life in this earth. I don't know whether I have come across clearly, but my belief is that we can always make a difference by changing ourselves rather than trying to change the world.
That is very true, sir. Sir, one last question we can take. That's by Mr. Karthik. How can we build or execute the Vedic knowledge through cultural practices?
See, a lot of our things, no, you see, if you, it's a very good question, basically, because it's actually, I thought that I will have that you know, as the subject of my talk today. But anyway, let me see. The thing is that in the way that Sanatana Dharma, at least, has there, all our practices are basically they are very ecological friendly. For instance, that whatever food we eat, see, even if you take things like the food we eat, most of the food is not required by the plant. What is essentially required for the plant to grow and reproduce, those things we in the proper manner we don't use. Even if you take our puja, our this one we use, for instance, for instance, bilva patra, or we use tulsi for our puja. The whole idea that behind that is that or the flowers that we use, our Vedic principle says that the flowers that have fallen down is what we should use for puja. The tulasi, that last stems of tulasi is what we should use for puja. Bilva patra leaves that are at the bottom of the tree must be used for puja. These are things that will help the plant to regenerate. But what we do today is that we, if there is a festival, we'll go and buy kilograms of flowers, and we throw them out, and we throw them haphazardly and in a wasteful manner. And we don't also see, end of the day, in the older way it was done, we also have dhupa. Dhupa came from waste flowers. So if a flower is waste, they used to keep it and they used to make it into a dhupa, and that dhupa was again illuminated in front of the god. So our, whatever were the traditional practices, no, what we eat, what we wear, what we, how we, do our traditions, our cultural practices, our songs, our festivals, all these things, are basically done in a manner that it is synthesizes with the environmental, the ecological and the Bhumi, the this environmental, this one of our earth and the way it is there. So if we just continue it, all these festivals and traditions in a proper manner, that is in a traditional manner, that our grandparents and great grandparents told us to celebrate, I don't think there is any problem. The problem will come only when we are trying to ape the West, or we are trying to build new practices, so that when we would like to, basically, what has actually happened is we want to demonstrate our wealth when we celebrate our festivals. We want to demonstrate, see, we go and buy huge, lot of things that we don't really require. We produce we cook a lot of food that we will never eat. So all these things, if we are able to manage, if we can just stay in a frugal manner, we continue to lead our life without actually, that frugality comes in our habits, not in our expressions, not in our what shall I say, not in the way that we think, or we are able to uh, uh, lead our life, but in the frugality of our practices, then I think we should do good.
Yes, sir. Sir, thank you so much, sir, for your profound insights on nature and its sustenance, and you have given valuable perspectives for the present and as well as for the future. So, thank you so much, sir, for joining us and making time for the session.
Thank you very much.
And dear participants, with this, we conclude the first day of the BM Navaratri Lecture Series 2025. On behalf of SES, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to today's speakers and also to the participants for joining us. We look forward to welcoming you tomorrow at the same time. I mean by 5 o'clock, as we continue this journey of knowledge and reflection. Wishing you all a pleasant evening. Thank you.